Listen!
Before we get started, please remember that we have a zero tolerance policy on trolling and all other forms of toxic online communication. Hey guys, and welcome back to our Becoming a PC Gamer series. This is episode number 5, where we talk about troubleshooting and making sure that your PC is running up to speed. First things first, what you want to make sure is that your PC in its basic vanilla state is running the way it should be. That means you want to remove overclocking, any special utilities, all of those things that could cause issues with the way your PC is running with your operating system. So what I first recommend is that after you get everything installed, and you can even do this now, shut your computer down completely, and while it's turned off with the power connected, open it up, and there's probably a MIM test button. That's M-E-M-T-E-S-T, or it should say a MIM OK button. Go ahead and push and hold that. You may need to read your motherboard manual to figure out how to work that, but it should test to make sure that your memory is okay. Now, if you've booted into Windows, your memory is pretty much going to be fine. Also, make sure that everything shows up properly. So bring up Windows, and then once you boot it into that, go ahead and bring up your system information page through your control panel, and make sure that it shows everything there properly. It should recognize your CPU, should recognize your graphics card, and it should show the full amount of memory that you have. If you've installed 16 gigabytes and it's only showing 8, that means that one of the memory modules is not fully seated. And likewise, if you've installed 8, it only shows 4, or something of that sort. Also, make sure that you put your memory in the proper configuration. Most motherboards have their DIMM slots, their RAM slots, color-coded, something like, tan and black, or blue and black, or red and something else. Just make sure that you install it according to what your motherboard says. You need to have both memory modules installed in the same color-coded spots, and in my case, the memory actually wanted it in the 2 spots further away from the CPU, so that's something to keep in mind. Make sure to bring up your BIOS, and this will look different depending on what kind of motherboard you have, but bring up your BIOS, make sure that you're not overclocking, set it to default settings, that way you know everything is good to go, because if your system's having problems, it may be because you've been overclocking it. Now, once you get your system up and running, everything looks good to go, all the hardware is firmly seated in place, and you have a proper power supply that's the right power, wattage for your graphics card and all that, which you can Google for. And remember guys, Google is your friend. Please don't be dependent. Don't be dependent on other people. Don't post that's my phone. Don't post questions like, oh, I don't know what power supply I need. What power supply I need? Guys, help me, help me. Go on Google and figure it out. Guys, come on. This is the age of the internet. You don't need to be posting such simplistic questions. Go on Google, Google it, figure out, what graphics card you have, what power supply you need for it, and, Google is your friend. Also YouTube as well. I recommend that you run a burn test, which is basically something like Firmark, and there are other programs that do this as well, but Firmark is the most well-known. Firmark will run what's called a burn test, either on your CPU or GPU, or you could do both. And this will basically test to make sure that under heavy load, pushing your card, pushing your system, there are no problems. If something happens, like you're running this and your system shuts down, or your system becomes unstable, or it starts, get a blue screen of death, or you start seeing artifacts, weird like black boxes appearing and things of that sort, something's wrong. So basically that means that your system is running too hot, and it's becoming unstable, and you want to make sure that you've got the cooling set up properly. That means also you need thermal paste on your CPU. So what you might want to do is open it up, unattach the CPU, however you attach it, whether it's AMD or Intel, kind of move it around on there a little bit to make sure to spread the thermal paste properly. If it's still happening with the CPU running too hot, you may need to get some additional thermal paste. I recommend Arctic Silver. And if you're still running too hot on the CPU, you might want to get an aftermarket cooler. You shouldn't need it, but that's a solution as well. Or what could be a big problem is that your case does not have all the fans set up properly. That's something to Google. Look on YouTube for tutorials. You want to make sure that you have a good exhaust system and a good intake system. You need to intake air into the PC case, and you need to exhaust it out of the PC case. You don't want all the fans sucking air inward or all the fans pushing air outward. You want a good airflow system set up to where some are basically sucking air in across your motherboard, across your CPU, across your graphics card, and then exhausting it out, and that's the best setup. Please don't be one of those people that thinks, well, I'll just leave the side of my case open and that'll give it even better airflow. No, it won't. That only works if you've got a broken airflow system. If your airflow system's working properly, opening your case up is actually going to make it worse because the airflow doesn't flow properly. It's set up properly when the case is closed and all the fans are installed and working properly. You may also consider buying additional fans if there are slots for it that are empty. Alright guys, another thing I recommend doing, update everything. Update Windows, and update your BIOS, and that's going to be different depending on what you have. Nowadays, we have BIOSes with the UEFI. BIOS is even letting you use a graphical user interface with a mouse. That's new to me. BIOS used to be this complicated thing. You had to do everything, with the keyboard scrolling through with the arrow keys and all that. But nowadays, all you have to do is download it from your motherboard's website. So go to either Asus or ASRock, or I think it's pronounced ASRock, ASROCK, Gigabyte, whatever board that you have, Intel. Go ahead and go to their website, download all the latest drivers for it, install them according to their instructions. This is not something you need to be posting in the comments going, I don't know what to do, help me, people, help me. I have such simplistic questions and I have no idea how to use Google. Google it. Okay guys, so getting back to it, what you want to do is make sure that you're stable and ready to go. So once you've got the burn test, everything's working fine, temperatures are looking good, you're good to go, and now you can start to work with any other issues that should pop up, such as when games don't run, and let's talk about that now. Alright guys, here we are with Steam. So I went to launch this game called Arcania Gothic 4, which has always worked fine for me before, but actually I just downloaded the Steam version. I used to have a DVD copy that I had, but I got tired of having to pull out the DVD and put in the serial code and all that junk. Ignore the little Steam messages. I'm constantly getting messaged. And look at that. Arcania has stopped working. Alright, do not freak out. Don't jump to ridiculous conclusions like, oh my gosh, this game didn't work one time on one system. It must be Windows 8. Windows 8 is incompatible with gaming. No, okay? Chill out. Go up here, go to properties, go to local files, and verify the integrity of your game cache. This will take quite a while, so let it do its thing, and while it's working, you'll be completely unable to use anything else Steam related. You won't be able to reply to Steam chats or anything else like that. For some reason, when I tried to verify the integrity, it actually tried to launch the game. I've never seen that before. That was quite unusual. So basically, wait for this to do its thing. It'll work its magic. When it's done, most games that give you trouble will actually work. This worked for me with Portal 2 because I had actually reinstalled the operating system, and I'm showing you here how basically you can't do anything. It'll just beep at you. So don't try to do anything, let it do its thing, go get a cup of coffee. Alright, well, now it looks like it's finishing up the process of validating the Steam cache files. What this does is basically look at it and make sure that what you have on your hard drive is what Steam knows that you should have for it. And if anything's missing, say like a Games Windows Live client on Dark Souls, it will automatically reinstall that. Physics from NVIDIA, that's what it's going to reinstall once we click close here and go back. I did want to show you just at least one more thing here in the right-click property section. Again, the way we got here is you take your mouse over the game, whether it's the text or the game icons like I have it set up. You right-click, go to properties, and then you go to the local files tab. There are other tabs here as well. I want you to check out the generals tab. Alright, well I said generals, I meant general tab. So click that, go to set launch options. If it ever tells you to launch with a certain option, this is where you do it, and you usually put a hyphen before it, like safe mode or something like that. We're not going to use it in this case, but if you're ever told to do so, that's where you go to figure that stuff out. Alright, well let's try launching the game. Look at that, it's going through the NVIDIA physics again. Something about NVIDIA physics, it's one of the only things about NVIDIA I don't like. Physics is great, it looks really cool in games. It's unique to NVIDIA, but it's proprietary, which is not good. And sometimes, for some reason, you have to completely reinstall it to get some games to work, which is obviously stupid. Oh, and look at that. Same problem as before. Now, I'm about to show you what you can do instead, and I don't mean to be offensive, okay guys? But I'm going to show you some other things you can do instead of immediately running online to one of my videos on YouTube going, my game doesn't work, what do I do? Help me, help me, help me, I'm completely helpless. No. Figure stuff out for yourself, okay? That's part of the fun here. Go to properties. There should be a compatibility tab. For some reason, for me, there's not, but there's still the option to run as administrator, and this will help some games run. If you right-click a game's exe file and go to properties, there's usually a compatibility tab where you can check run as administrator or run in compatibility mode with previous versions of Windows. You could try experimenting with that and see what works. Troubleshooting is about doing stuff. It's not about posting on a website, help me, I'm completely helpless and stupid and I have no idea how to help myself. I'm completely dependent on you to give me an answer. Don't do that, okay guys? Don't be that person that does that. Learn for yourself, become intelligent. I have so many people tell me, well, I don't know what to do. Well, you're never going to know what to do if you want someone to spoon feed it for you, and that didn't work. So here is this magic solution that I guess half of the internet is completely unaware of, alright guys? But get ready for this. There's this website called Google. Google.com, it's spelled Google.com. You can type stuff in it, and it brings stuff up for you. I don't mean to be condescending, but I can't tell you how many people seem to be completely clueless about this. Google it. Stop posting such ridiculously naive questions. Google it for yourself. Don't make other people repeat stuff for you. Half the time, if someone gives you an answer, it's probably because they found it. But again, it's telling us to validate the files. This is a forum where other people have had the same problem. I have not tried restarting. The reason I haven't is because I know that doesn't work, because I already tried it. But again, after you install a game, restart. That sometimes helps. You shouldn't have to, but sometimes it helps. It told me to go in there and delete a folder. I went in there and I deleted the folder. It told me to delete. You can go ahead and spy on some of my files in there and see what I got going on. You also want to go through these forums and look for any other solutions people have listed. I've gone through here and done most of this. One of them was talking about reinstalling NVIDIA Physics, which I will do for you. Well, I'm not on your computer, but I'll do it right here in front of you so you can see how it works. But type NVIDIA Physics driver or NVIDIA Physics and go to the website. Again, I'm Googling everything. I haven't memorized where everything is. I'm not magical. I don't just know everything there is to know. I'm just Googling stuff. And that's really how you figure stuff out. I mean, I don't know why people still post ridiculously easy questions on videos. Like, how do I do this? What's this? What is such and such? Google it. There's no reason to post such ridiculously naive questions. And you can tell it's kind of been getting to be a pet peeve of mine because I see so many stupid questions on my videos. And they're stupid because they're so easy to figure out by simply Googling. Alright, so once we've downloaded it, since I'm using the Google Chrome browser, there will be a link there at the bottom of the window where I can just go down there. You click it and install it. Again, how did I find this website? I Googled it, guys. I Googled it. I didn't know it. I didn't type in a long, complicated terminal command line code. I just Googled it. So again, I'm stressing this, but no matter how many times I stress it, I guarantee you there'll be some dumb questions below that really could have been answered by 2 seconds of Googling. So here's another website I found from Google by typing in Arcania Crash on Startup or Crash Startup. And it tells you what to do. Ultimately, the solution for this problem, and this is the only time I've ever encountered it, and you'll find it in here, it says you have to uninstall Avast antivirus. That's the only program I've ever found that's not compatible with Avast antivirus. However, people say if you uninstall the antivirus, reboot, run the game, then reinstall the antivirus, it still continues to work. So it's something about the initial launch of the game that doesn't work with Avast. I have gotten this game to work before. I've gotten it to work on Windows 8, but it's something about Avast antivirus. You need it uninstalled when you first launch the game. I picked this one because this was quite an unusual one and it took me a while to figure out as well. But how did I figure it out? Well, first of all, I did my basic stuff that I do. I always verify the cache integrity. I reinstalled it, which is a pain because you have to re-download it with Steam. I ran as administrator. I rebooted, tried all of that, and then finally I started Googling for solutions. Here's one that told me to create a video settings.xml file. It gave me a sample one. It said to save it in a certain location, documents, and name the folder something. So I went ahead and did that. You can watch me do it right here for you. Create a new folder. Rename it whatever it says to rename it, and so that's what I did. And it basically said demo. Well, I happen to remember that the folder name that I had did not have demo in it because I'm not running the demo, I'm running the full version. So I copied and pasted it without the word demo. That's something I recommend that you do here. For solutions like this, copy and paste is your friend. If you type it out manually and you get just one character wrong, you'll screw it up. So we're going to go ahead and create that folder that the game usually creates, and we're going to put this file in there. I actually clicked another file, but we'll erase that name. We don't want dsgames.txt. That's where I put a list of the games I have for the DS. But video settings.ini. I did this on purpose. Watch. Do you see what I just did, guys? XML. I accidentally put an uppercase I. That can affect whether it finds it or not. So I wanted to show you why you need to copy and paste. One simple typing error could really screw things up. So there we go. We created that file just the way this website says to do it. And this is, of course, another forum. Forums are where you'll find most of answers to solutions to problems that you find, because other people post and be like, hey, I'm having trouble with this. And this is also a great idea. Search forums. Go to the Steam forums right here and search for this, because if you're having a problem, most likely other people too. This guy said he solved it by deleting. He meant deleting. By deleting the game and reinstalling it. I tried that, didn't work for me. Don't freak out if the first solution you find doesn't work for you. It may be crashing for different reasons. Avast. This is where I found that it is actually Avast antivirus that it's incompatible with. Is this a problem with Avast? I definitely don't think so. I think this is a problem with Arcania Gothic 4. It should never have this much trouble. But look at that. See, I do have Avast, so that's where our issue lies. Right there. So if you uninstall Avast, launch the game, should work just fine. Then reinstall Avast and the game should launch thereafter. I tried it again just to see if it would finally work for me. It just does not. Big fat surprise. Do not get angry. Don't start, cussing at your machine. Don't start throwing things. Don't start breaking windows. Don't start yelling at your dog. None of that's going to help you get the game to work. But basically, this is some troubleshooting for you. If you guys can think of other great troubleshooting devices, please include it below. And remember, if it doesn't work, try these solutions first, restart, Google the heck out of it before you ever think about posting your own comments on forums. See you guys later.